You know, man, we're talking about attitude and, morning routines and all this stuff. And a lot of guys might listen to this and be like, what have these guys really gone through? What can these guys really even back up what they're talking about? So today I want to talk about a little bit of perseverance. Perseverance is something that as a business owner, as a husband, as a father, every area of your life is going to take perseverance. And something we just heard the other day, we interviewed Chad Wright, and he said, hard things, if it's a big goal, it's going to be hard to do.
Absolutely.
So you're going to go through hard things. You're going to go through adversity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about a time in your life where you have had to persevere through, whether it was in sports, whether it was in business, whether it was in your marriage.
Yeah. There's so many things. I mean, especially when you step out and really try to start building a business, it's not easy and it's not for the faint of heart. But, we ask a question on Pave the Way, kind of what is something that you would like to leave for the future generation to help them pave the way? And out of our 8 guests, 2 of them has said, don't quit.
Mm.
And that stuck out to me that, when you ask that question and you don't really lead into telling them you're going to ask that question, just right off the top of their head, they say, don't quit, because they've been through it. Both of the guys that had went through it had, a lot of persevering that they had to do to get to where they are. And, we're constantly in a season of perseverance. And I think any entrepreneur is constantly in that season. But really what you have to do first is you have to start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So many people sit on the sidelines their whole life and they have these dreams of what they want to do, what they want to become. And that's all it ever is a dream. There's no action behind it. But basically, once you start, it's just be ready that you're going to have to persevere. You're going to have to overcome. And, for me in my life, obviously the business side of things has constantly been something where we've had to persevere.
And in business, I mean, we've thrown ourselves into a lot of different opportunities. So no matter what, if you're in 1 business, 5 businesses, 3 businesses, 0 businesses, there's going to be things to persevere through.
Absolutely.
And so
even if you're working for someone,
yes,
like if you're not even stepped out into faith, if you do have that entrepreneur dream, but you're still working with someone, I don't want that to be misled. I don't want to mislead you to think that we only think that you should be an entrepreneur and that's the only way. Even if you're working for someone to grow and to grow within that company, because we all have dreams. We all have things that we're chasing after in life. And whether you want to admit it or not, you do have those dreams in the back of your mind. And in order to accomplish those, you got to get on the playing field and you got to start overcoming that adversity. That's just inevitable with anything you do.
Literally. And when it comes to persevering, I mean, we're all handed things to persevere through every day, whether it's, a conversation on the phone you don't like to have or whatever. And basically, hard things are going to happen. So it's up to us to respond well to the hard things to get better. Because if they're going to happen regardless, why not try to be and respond the best way to them and live up to your full potential? Whether you're 60 years old or whether you're 18 years old, there's potential for you left as long as you're breathing air on this earth.
That's exactly right.
So,
and when you ask me some of the stuff that I've had to persevere through, something that came to mind is, coming up through high school, my only dream was to play sports at some level after high school. My junior year, I tear my ACL. And, a lot of stuff happened, in 2007, when you tear your ACL, it's not like tearing it today. The surgeries have really, came a long way in a short amount of time. So it was kind of a death sentence to my sports career in a sense, because it just made it harder. But I was able to fight through and finish playing. I wasn't able to play basketball anymore, but I was able to keep playing. But really, I didn't have a plan B. I was just like, I'm going to go play sports after high school. And I didn't really, my grades weren't that great. So I didn't really have a lot of opportunity now that sports went away. So for me, I found myself working as a mechanic at the age of 19, and never in a million years did I think that I wanted to be a mechanic. That was not on the dream board. That was not something that I wanted to do, but it was just something that I had to do to pay the bills. So there was a lot of perseverance that I had to do mentally, because I didn't really focus on my grades. I didn't really focus on life after high school, because it was really, I was just going to go play sports and that's all I cared about. So then from 19 to about 24, there was a lot of, I've talked to you guys about being in the sewer department. I'll go from mechanic to working at a funeral home. Now I find myself in the sewer department at the city of Dallas. And I love the city of Dallas and what the opportunity that they gave me. But let's face it, I didn't want to be in the sewer department my whole life. So there was a lot of stuff that I had to persevere with, just bad habits. My parents did the best that they possibly could to raise us, but we were lower middle class. I mean, my family truly came out of the trailer park. Like, that was all they known, and not to hate on a trailer park at all, but it was just a lot of things that I had to overcome mentally to actually get to the next level. So then I get into the business world, and when I'm 24, I get into real estate, and that just started a journey of perseverance. And I know your story's so cool too, so you can talk a little bit about what you've been through.
Yeah, well, before we go there, I would just want to hit on the point, like you talked about the mental stuff that you went through from the ACL, and then all the way up to starting real estate at 24. My point being, did it happen overnight?
No.
No. Did you battle that adversity and just like get better? It's a process.
Yes.
Going through these hard things is a process, whether it's tearing your ACL, whether it's finding who you want to be at when you go into the grave. And so you asked some of my life, I was kind of, as you may say, I was born into adversity. My mom had me when she was 16. So it's hard not to get emotional talking about it, but it's basically, when I don't know what it was like then because I can't remember, but all I know is that I know that they had to try extremely hard to get through these times. And so growing up, I mean, it was a humbling start, it was humbling going through that. And then when I got to be around 14 years old, my parents informed me that I didn't know my biological father. And so now don't get me wrong, I had a loving family and everything was like set up. I was going to school, everything was a normal life, but they, through that, and there was some mental stuff you had to go through to persevere. Yeah, I mean, you start wondering a lot of different things. So anybody that can relate to that, I feel you. But through that, you end up going, I went to college. So I went to college not really knowing what I wanted to do. I partied a ton. I don't really recommend it, but I lived through it. And whenever I got done with college, I really started to try to find out like who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And I went straight into sales. And like you had mentioned, man, sales, I mean, you're working based on commission sales. So if you don't kill, you don't eat.
Yeah.
So it's basically like you're on the phone all day, you're persevering through tons of mental frustration daily, trying to figure out, is this where you want to be? But then you see at the end of that road, man, you see that, for me, it was an insurance agency. You see that insurance agency you're going to own. You see these rental portfolios we want to build. You see these things. And what I'm getting at is every time that I've had to go through something and persevere, there has always been a why. There's been a reason behind what I wanted to accomplish. And I think for my own perseverance and for, a lot of people that I talk to, the thing that gets you through and helps you persevere is the goal and the why behind it.
Yes.
And so,
yeah, because the thing is, we've shared openly that whatever you're going to try to do, it's not going to be sunshine, rainbow, butterflies every single day. I don't care what it is. If you're trying to do something in life, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that you have to overcome, and you're going to have to persevere through many challenges. And we're living in that still today. We have our insurance agencies, we're doing real estate, we're doing all these things, we're videoing, we've got so many things like Alex mentioned that require a lot of hard work, a lot of perseverance, and time again, you have to really separate yourself from the end goal and just fall in love with the day-to-day activities that eventually get you to that end goal. Because that's the thing, if it happened overnight, there'd be so many things that's wrong with that equation. One, you wouldn't appreciate it as much. Two, you wouldn't understand the hard work that it really takes. So that's why
you have to build skill.
You have to. And that's why I think God does it the way that he does it, where he gives you the vision, but then he doesn't tell you how long it's going to take. He doesn't tell you how much hard work it's going to take, because you probably quit from the very beginning. So you just have to figure out a way to muster up the courage every single day to just step onto that field again and try again. And eventually what happens is, after you persevere time and time again, eventually you get closer and closer to that goal.
And perseverance becomes a habit for you.
Correct.
Perseverance becomes a habit. And I want to say something about each person. We're only sharing a little bit about our story and trying to be quick with it, but this is just two stories right here. Every single person has a story, and every person, no matter how hard you may think that your situation is, every person is going through a hard thing. And so what I'm saying is, don't maybe judge other people when you meet them and think, man, that guy doesn't think right or whatever. If you were born into their shoes and had to do the exact same thing, you may behave the exact same way.
That's exactly
And
right.
so the perseverance you have, you know, it's yours, and you should be proud of it, man. I'm glad that I have to go through what I have to go through.
Yeah.
And so,
And you can't compare situations because, you know, my story is kind of boring, really, if you really think about it. Yeah, I tore my ACL. Sad story. That happens to athletes all the time. Yeah, I didn't get to go fulfill my dream of playing sports at the next level. That happens every single day. It's so hard to actually do that. So it's not like we have some crazy story. Alex's story, every time he tells it, I get emotional just hearing it because, you know, and I'm not, you know, Alex is right here beside me, so I don't want to, you know, over fluff him, but it's amazing what he overcame. It's amazing what he had to, just not knowing that situation about not knowing his dad and all that stuff. It's just mentally, I can't imagine what that had to be like. So I commend him every single day for all of the perseverance that he's overcame. But like he just said, we're not here to compare stories because your story is probably worse than ours. But I just want to encourage you to get out there and
Yes.
chase your dreams and to fall in love with perseverance, as
Yes.
hard as that sounds.
no, and once it becomes a habit, and we could go and we'll do a whole different video on the day-to-day communication of yourself to help you like how to do a day-to-day.
Yes.
But as far as persevering, once it becomes a habit, it's like an addiction, man. Every time a hard thing comes up, you know you're going to get through it. You know you're going to get better. You know you're going to succeed.
Yes.
And then you throw God on your team.
Yeah.
Watch out now.
Game over.
So,
And that's the thing, it's like something Alex just said stuck out to me of, you know, we're constantly persevering and it gets easier and easier to overcome that perseverance. And that's just because, one, you're becoming a better version of yourself every time you persevere and every time you come through a trial. Now you're a different person. You're ready for a different set of tasks. And that's what God's doing. You know, that scripture says that he will, to whom much is given, or to whom much is given much, what does it say?
for who is given much, much will be expected.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's what I was trying to say. So basically, he's got to put you through those things to make sure you handle them correctly. He's not just going to give them to you and let you mess them up like we all would. So that's the coolest thing that I've learned in my life is that all of the things that I've been through, building these businesses, all the adversity that we've had to face building these businesses, it's truly now, man, I'm ready to take on way more than I could ever imagine because of that, because of the perseverance that
Or
God
that you ever
has.
thought you'd be capable of.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And this is the last thing I'll say, guys, but your thoughts turn into actions, your actions turn into your character, and your character turns into your destiny. So when it comes to persevering, when you're 18 years old trying to persevere through something, your thoughts aren't what they need to be a 40-year-old successful businessman or whatever you're trying to become.
No.
You know, those thoughts turn into actions, which turns into character. You have to build these things, and that's where the perseverance comes in building and shaping who you want to become.
That's exactly right.
So-
And last thing I'll say is kind of in that same vein of perseverance, it takes a great amount of patience to accomplish these big goals that we have. And we have to remind ourselves of that daily. We have to be aggressively patient. I say it all the time. And that's kind of like, whoa, what does that mean? But you still have to work your tail off every single day. But then you have to be patient with your long-term goals. And you have to just realize that things are going to come. You're going to get hit with a left hook when you're expecting a right hook. And it's just going to happen time and time again. But if you're patient and you have that perseverance, man, you're going to be unstoppable. And you're eventually going to get those goals. So I just want to encourage any of you guys who have these goals and who are just sitting on the sidelines, man, just step out.
Keep
Step
fighting.
out on faith. Yeah, keep fighting and just trust God. He's gonna see you through everything, and he's gonna work in your life, and he's gonna perfect you so that you can be that better version of yourself, and so that you can accomplish those goals. So just keep fighting the good fight. Don't give up, guys. And we love you, and we're just so thankful for everything that you guys are doing for us, sharing our stuff, subscribing to our stuff. And just thank you for listening to us ramble, man.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys.